In this section, we'll cover just a little bit about Linux and what you can expect to find as a new user. I don't want to get totally into all the history. You can read all that stuff online. There's a lot of drama and other things across the history of the system. Linux is a Unix-like operating system. The kernel was originally developed by Linus Torvalds. It was a project that was started in 1991. The kernel itself is totally free. It's open source. You can download it from kernel.org. Linux was built initially as a replacement for an educational operating system that ran on PCs called Minix. Minix, in turn, was created to help students learn Unix without the expensive hardware most commercial Unixes ran on at that time. Over the years, a number of groups have taken the kernel and wrapped it up with a bunch of other, usually also free and open source software, and created distributions. These might be referred to as Linux distributions or GNU Linux distributions to reflect their reliance on other tools. Some groups are run entirely by volunteers, others sell support and other products related to Linux as commercial entities. Torvalds still leads the kernel project. The components of a Linux distribution represent the work of thousands of software developers worldwide. While Linux was started as an OS for PCs, the one market it does not dominate is the end-user desktop. Numerous distributions aim to create user-friendly desktop editions of Linux, but desktop Linux remains a niche user space. The kernel is modular, and the modules can be compiled into a single binary or loaded at runtime as needed. This modular architecture has allowed Linux kernel developers to add support for a huge variety of hardware architectures and components over the life of the kernel. Therefore, Linux lives all over the place. You'll find Linux behind lots of major web servers. It runs on supercomputers. It runs on mobile phones because it is operating system under Android, and you might find it on DVRs or other devices as the Internet of Things expands and you end up with more connected devices over time. So Linux, kind of everywhere, a very important and useful tool to end up learning.